Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today with a heavy heart, I'm going to be making a memorial cross for a funeral. I'm going to start by putting my pipe cleaners onto my cross frame. I am going to go all the way around the whole frame of this cross, and I am going to twist tie them off on two of the outer bars. I twist tie them off on two of the bars in hopes that they're not going to move as much. If you do it on one bar, it moves tremendously. So I always suggest to wrap the pipe cleaner around two bars. It gives it more stability. Now it's time to start building my cross. I'm going to do it in layers. I'm starting with the purple deco mesh, and I'm going to start at the top of the cross. And I just gather it in my hands, lay it in that first pipe cleaner, and I'm doing the bubble method all the way around this cross. And I am using around 10-inch poofs, I guess you could call them. And once I make that 10-inch poof, I place it into the next pipe cleaner. And I'm just going to continue to do this all the way around the cross. I always zip tie off my mesh wherever I started. I just kind of fold it down onto the wreath frame and zip tie it off. And this is what we have so far. You can tell there are holes all throughout this frame, which is why I'm layering the mesh. Now I'm going to go in with a white mesh, and I'm going to kind of zigzag it all the way through this wreath frame. Next, I'm going to work on my ribbon tails. I am going to place them randomly around the outside of that cross frame wreath. This is why I left the pipe cleaners kind of long, but I am making them at, I believe, 10 inches. So I'm just making 10-inch strips of this ribbon, and then I'm going to fold it on its side and dovetail the ends. Now that I have all of my ribbon tails ready to go, I'm going to pinch them in the middle and place them into the pipe cleaner and then twist tie it off. And I am going to try and make like an X with the ribbon tails. Now I'm going to start working on the florals. And for the base of my florals, I have this little dome styrofoam that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to use floral pins to actually place pipe cleaners on the flat side of this dome. And this way I will have a way of securing it to my actual cross frame wreath. When I'm placing the floral pins into the styrofoam, I put the pipe cleaner down first, and then I put the floral pin in at a slant because I don't want it to poke through the other side of the styrofoam. And I am going to add some extra glue just for extra security. Now it's time to work on my bow. I'm going to start with the wider ribbon first, the silver, and I'm making 5-inch loops. And I am measuring this off on my Easy Bow Maker. And then I'm going in with lavenders and purples and pinks. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how many loops I did with this bow. I just know I wanted a big, juicy bow. While I'm making my bow, I want to talk about Miss Leslie just for a minute. She was an excellent wife, mother, and grandmother. She loved all children. You really felt at peace when you were in her presence. I'm going to show a picture at the end, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. She was steadfast in her faith and loved everyone. She was also an excellent cook. I had countless dishes she served, and she could never lock down measurements for me because she cooked from the heart. Miss Leslie was a dear friend of my mother's, so my mother did ask me to make this cross for her funeral, and I was more than happy to help. Now that I have my bow loops made, I'm going to go in with a zip tie and I'm going to carefully place it underneath the right side of those loops, those bows, and I'm going to get the zip tie started. I'm not going to zip tie it all the way down. I just want to get it started. Then I can pull it out of the Easy Bow Maker, and before I do anything, I'm going to add a pipe cleaner to the back of that zip tie before I crank it all the way down. Now I'm going to fluff up my bow. They also call this breaking the bow. And I'm just going to mess with the loops and the tails and just to ensure that they're exactly the way that I want them. Now I'm going to trim up every one of the tails. The whiter ribbon I'm going to dovetail, and the thinner ribbon I'm just going to cut them at a slant. And I want to make sure that I have every one of them cut. You always want to pay attention to your ribbon tails. It does add an extra detail, an extra finish to your bow. Now it's time to work on my florals. Miss Leslie loved African violets, so I picked out pink and purple. I'm going to start by trimming up the florals from the bush and get them all separated and ready to go for my pick machine. I do start by leaving them longer, and I will trim them down as I'm adding them to that styrofoam dome. This is my pick machine, and it is an excellent way to get the florals into styrofoam. So I'm going to start by putting picks on most of my florals, and then later I'm going to go back in. I'm still going to use the greenery. I did kind of clip off most of the greenery, but I am going to, you'll see I stack those together to use them to fill in. Now I'm adding the florals, and I have kind of like a rule. One at the top, one at the bottom. So whatever I do on the top, I will do at the bottom. Whatever I do on the right, I will do on the left. This is how I just create my florals. Now I'm going to go in with the actual greenery that I had trimmed off in the beginning, and I'm going to stack two of the greenery leaves on top of each other, and I'm going to use this to fill in any holes on that styrofoam dome. Okay, so here comes the tricky part. I'm going to use the pipe cleaners that are attached to the bow and some floral pins, and I'm going to attach the bow to the styrofoam dome where the florals are, but kind of at the bottom, using the floral pin and the pipe cleaners. I am just kind of having to feel my way through this because I couldn't really see it, but I'm going to get the pipe cleaners up against the styrofoam and then use the floral pins to pierce it in and keep those pipe cleaners in place to hold the bow. Now I'm ready to attach my florals to the cross frame wreath. So I'm going to feed the pipe cleaners down through the middle part, the T part of the cross, and get it through the back. This way I can twist tie it off. As I'm twist tying off the pipe cleaners, I'm being very careful not to smash the mesh. I kind of want it to sit on top of the cross. Now I'm going to trim up all of my pipe cleaners. Every pipe cleaner that I see, I'm going to twist it some more, trim it up, and then tuck it back into the mesh. This is where I'm covering up any mechanics that I have on the back. My pipe cleaners are trimmed up, they're pushed back into the mesh. I zip tied down some felt, and what I did was, I didn't show this, but I took a Sharpie and I kind of measured out, I used another cross frame to measure out the felt. I zip tied that down to the frame. Now I'm going back in with the silver ribbon. I just want to make sure it looks clean. This is where you just have to exercise a little bit of patience and just go piece by, or just step by step, gluing down the back of the ribbon. And I do suggest using the finger guards. I did purchase them from the Dollar Tree. Okay, friends, this is my completed project. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Heaven got a good one, and Miss Leslie, you will be missed.